Hello, I'm back once again. How are you all? I hope you're all well. Now, this video I want to talk about the planet Pluto in astrology. And in astrological terms, it hasn't been reclassified, so we won't get into all of that. But let me briefly discuss Pluto, my understanding of its symbolism and themes, because this video is the introduction to a series of videos all about Pluto through the sidereal zodiac. So, firstly, quick disclaimer as always, these are my own opinions and understanding of Pluto and what it represents, astrologically speaking. It is entirely okay for us to disagree. Now, what is Pluto? Well, Pluto takes 248 years approximately to orbit the Sun. So it takes approximately 248 years for Pluto to make its way around the 12 signs of the zodiac. $248 years. Yeah, well, I'm kind of certain. I'm like 99.9% certain we're all dead in 248 years' time. Of course, energy never dies, but our physical bodies, our beings, how we exist today, we'll be dead by then. So what does Pluto symbolize? Well, part of understanding all planets, especially in astrology, part of understanding astrology is not only knowing the constellations and the planets and what they symbolize, but understanding all the hidden inner meanings, understanding the mythology, the legends, the lore connected to everything, the allegory, because it all holds significance. So Pluto being the god of death and the underworld, and being one of the outer planets, because I feel when you consider Pluto in an astrological chart, you have to also consider its relationship to Uranus and Neptune and Rahu, the north node, and Ketu, the south node, because these are all also affecting you psychologically. Because in my opinion, not only does Pluto signify death and destruction and rebirth and reincarnation, but Pluto signifies psychological trauma. Now, Pluto is control, power struggles. Pluto starts with the letter P. Pluto symbolizes propaganda. So I've found Pluto has a deep connection with what is the propaganda that is pushed on the masses. And because Pluto is one of the outer generational planets, and it takes 248 years to travel through the entire zodiac. Pluto can take anywhere from, let's say, 16 to 20 odd years traveling through one sign. So everyone born in that specific generation has their Pluto in the exact same sign. Now that is where, in terms of analysis and calculations, you would look more closely at what degree If it's tropical, you would look at the decan of Pluto. If it's Jyotish Vedic, you would look at what nakshatra Pluto is in. And as always, you would look at the house that Pluto resides in within the chart. Pluto, as I said, is power struggles. It's manipulation. But being a malefic, ultimately Pluto wants you to connect to the divine, wants to bring out the best. Pluto is purifying. This is where the sun, our soul, our conscious and decisive action, is a mild malefic, because the sun burns and purifies, but it invigorates us, it inspires us. The sun wants to bring out the best and the brightest and wants us to create in alignment with the divine. Pluto destroys. It causes friction. It breaks you. It kills you. Pluto, as I said, causes psychological trauma because Pluto is the last resort. Pluto is the end of the line. Let's compare Pluto to another malefic, Saturn, the lord of karma. Saturn, and I've found in my personal experience, this is the experience I've had with a lot of Capricorn people especially. They're very much, also Aquarius, because Aquarius can be quite harsh and judgmental. Saturn has this energy of, okay, I'm going to take everything from you. I'm going to starve you. I'm going to cut you off and see how you manage. Saturn makes you a pauper. Saturn makes you a beggar. But Saturn ultimately wants you to achieve and attain all of the things it denies you. So that when you achieve and you attain those things, you fully realize and appreciate the value. That's why Saturn is exalted in Libra. It wants to raise your awareness of the value, because you've gone so long without having whatever Saturn has denied you. You've had to work hard for it. You've had to sacrifice. You've had to beg. You've had to plead. You've had to humble yourself. Saturn doesn't concern itself with ego. How badly do you want this thing that I'm not giving you? That is Saturn, the malefic, the lord of karma. And Saturn, when you try to plead or fight or wrestle with Saturn, Saturn has this opinion of, you're starving, but you're not dead. Did you die? Are you dead? No? Get up. Continue. How badly do you want this? Or are you going to sit there crying and sulking, depressed? Are you going to continue to be depressed? Because I'm not going to give it to you. Saturn is very cold. Saturn is telling you, work for it. Prove to me that you want it. Prove to me that you deserve this thing. Pluto, when a person reaches the stage of Pluto, you didn't heed the lessons of Saturn. The sun purifies you, and you still haven't humbled yourself. You've indulged and you've been led astray. So when Pluto comes into the picture, Pluto's like, you know what, Saturn? You know what, Uranus, Neptune, Sun? Time's up. And Pluto kills you. So that's why when Pluto was discovered in 1930, you saw this activation and surge in Pluto's energies. You know, you saw the mob, the criminal underworld. You saw things related to propaganda and toxic ideologies, because Pluto has a lot to do with being toxic, because you want to control and suppress and manipulate in order to get your own way. Or somebody else is suppressing and controlling and manipulating you to get their own way, to get the upper hand. And that's why in modern times, tropical astrology attributes Pluto as a secondary ruler of Scorpio. Because Pluto is so much more than Mars. Because like I said, it's the psychological. It's the acceptance. Ultimately, Pluto just wants you to let go and realize this situation is not for you. This situation has totally corrupted you. It brings out the worst in you. Let go of whatever Pluto wants you to let go of, so that you can be your best self. Because you've had Saturn and all these other planets trying to teach you and help you to let go, and you still haven't learnt your lesson. So this is it. Either you let go now and you heal from this psychological trauma I give you, or you're going to die. It's one of the two. But death is inevitable. But your energy will always remain. So do you want to evolve ultimately? Or do you want to be reincarnated, reborn into a new body and find yourself in this exact same predicament, this exact same position? This is what Pluto is doing. So in this series, I want to focus on major themes and events that have helped me to understand how Pluto's operated through some of these signs in the sidereal zodiac, because ultimately, this December in 2020 AD, Pluto enters Capricorn for the first time in over 250 years. Sidereal Capricorn. So I feel like it's an important time for us to all work on our Pluto energy and fully understand what we need to do. And in my chart, disclaimer, I have Pluto conjunct Sun in the first house, in both my birth chart and my D9 Navamsha. So we are going to get into it. And first up in this series, because there's a method to my madness, I think we'll start with Pluto in sidereal Gemini and that generation of people. Since Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, when Pluto was really upping itself, when Pluto wanted us to start paying attention to it and the significance that holds for Gemini. So let's go ahead and check out Pluto in sidereal Gemini.